Hello, hello, hello. It's Kyle Van Voris with Voris.com, and today we're going to be discussing how to analyze and improve an email template. Let's jump right in. All right, if you're like everybody else on the planet, you're sending emails, probably a lot of them, and you may be personalizing, you may not be. I'm not here to talk about that debate today because either way, there's one thing that's going to be very important. It's understanding what email analytics are telling you and specifically how to make changes to those emails to improve them without wasting a bunch of time spinning your tires. So if you like this kind of content, and you like it when we get a little data driven, let me know. I'd love to hear about the things you enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be making more content about this. So let's jump right in. All right, boom, we're in an email campaign. Oh, exciting stuff. So I'm going to walk through just some of the emails that we have been sending out, some campaigns that we have running, and I experiment a ton. One thing you should know about me is I get really nerdy about this stuff. So some of this that you're going to see is not a good idea. Like, don't do it. So I make changes constantly, and just because I'm testing something doesn't mean it's going to be what I use forever. So keep that in mind. If you see something that's a little off the wall, comment and I'll let you know what my thought process was behind it. But I love to experiment. Now, when you're experimenting, you got to be looking at data and you have to be able to read the data, understand what it's telling you, and then dive in and make changes based on that insight. And this is how I do it with emails. I'm going to keep this rather high level. This is a pretty deep topic in general. And, you can go real nerdy and talk about positive replies versus, negative replies and all of that. These are things I take into account, but let me walk through at a high level the data points that I'm looking at and how I'll start shaping an email. So let's talk about this one here. So I've sent 41, so nothing crazy. The open rate's really high, and I'm going to explain why that is in a minute. About 10% people click through, 12% reply rate. Overall, it's still low numbers, so this is nothing that I would get super excited about because I only sent 41 of them. And the reason why only 41 have been sent is because this is actually to potential buyers who liked or commented on an influencer's post on LinkedIn. So I'll go in, I'll see, the CEO or founder of some company commented on some influencers post, and I'll reach out to them with really specific messaging. Now, if you look here, you'll see when you dive into the numbers here, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you, make sure that looks okay. Okay, if you look right here, 73% open rate on the first email. And that makes a lot of sense because the subject line of the email is literally the name of the influencer. So you're going to get them to open it because they are aware of that person. A lot of people clicked, which is great. We put a link to the website in there. Like, they're actually going and engaging with some of our content. Only 2% of people replied. So this is not an email that is getting a lot of replies. And the reason why it's not is because it wasn't very good. Just straight up. I tested it. I wanted to see how it would work, and it just didn't resonate with people. Now, that can be because of a lot of different variables. Maybe the influencer wasn't the right for our business to be targeting. Maybe it's just not that great of a thing to do, to reach out to people who just like some influencer's post. I'm skeptical that is true. I think it's probably more the influencer we chose, and I'm not going to walk through it because their name's all over it. But the reply rate was really low. The reply rate is really high here, and that's because this is a classic email. I got this one from Justin Michaels. If you guys follow him on LinkedIn, just saying thoughts ? In an email, and it got a lot of replies. So I thought that was a good marker. Now, from a sequence perspective, I'm liking this email a lot. That thoughts ? Email I'll probably keep using. So that's how I think of it as a high level for a sequence specifically. Now, let me zoom out here and let's talk about this one here. Okay, a whole different email campaign. This one, we're reaching out to people who just raised Series A. Now, if you look here, we have just shy of a 60% open rate. I've sent a lot more of them. 0% clicked, not great. And 11 replied at 5.53%. So look, these numbers aren't fantastic, first and foremost. I mean, our open rate's pretty good, but that's standard. This 5.53% was much lower than I thought I'd get, but it makes a little bit of sense because these people just raised Series A. They probably get bombarded with emails all the time, and that's the truth, and that's the feedback we got when we were reaching out. Now, let's take a look at it, and you can see this is still active, so we don't have a lot of data down below step 3 here, but step 1, 52% open rate, 4% reply rate, so the bulk of those replies are coming from the actual first email, which is totally different than what we saw in the last sequence, right? And then if you look at step 2, has a higher open rate, which I think is interesting, and then a lower reply rate, which is unfortunate. So let's actually dive into these emails and see what could possibly be the reason why. And you're gonna laugh at this. Okay, we use Lemlist, and this is one that I did. His name's G, the CEO of Lemlist. I did his course on cold email, and they had a template that used putting the face of the person, like you take their LinkedIn profile picture, and Lemlist allows you to dynamically throw it into an email, which is pretty cool, and it worked well for them. I decided to test it. Not a huge fan of it. It's a little too cheeky for my taste, so I don't plan on redoing this campaign in the way that it is here. And it's the data that's really telling me that, right? 4% reply rate. You're getting a 3% reply rate on just an automatic mass blast, that's really the number that I would feel is good. So to get 4% but going and doing this kind of corny stuff, I just don't really like it that much. So we're probably not going to continue it. But what is cool is some of the messaging. So your first name, you did it, amount is no joke, and now the real work begins, blah, 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 whatever, just like standard copy. And then have a conversation on how I'd value to scale your sales org based on where you are today and the goals that you're trying to hit this year and next. No weird salesy stuff. I promise it will be value filled. What do you think? Well, 4% replies tells me that they don't really care. That's something that I really learned with this one. I like this still. I feel like this picture hurt our reply rate. Now, this is where you need to take a note. When I'm changing this email, I am removing this image and I'm cutting this out here. Like I'm literally doing this and getting rid of this, make it rain stuff. And this is the new email. And here's why I'm doing that. If I rewrite this entire email and I get totally different stats on it, I've learned nothing. I've learned that this email in isolation is better than the last email. What you want to do is change one thing about your email and test that. So if I send this email like this, and I can save this and we can actually start running it like this. I'm open to do that. So there we go. That's gone now. So as we add new people here, I'll get new data, whether this is going to be effective or not. What I'm testing is the image hurting my reply rates? And if I get more than a 4% reply rate, guess what? The image was hurting my reply rates. If I don't get over 4%, it wasn't the image. And then I'd probably change this call to action. Like maybe this part wasn't good. And the subject line typically doesn't impact reply rates in my experience. And at a 60% open rate, I think it's pretty good. So let me just double check that was right. Or 52% open rate. That's serviceable. I think that's pretty good. I'd like to see it a bit higher, but 50 is kind of the floor. I probably wouldn't play with the subject line that much. All right, folks, hopefully that was insightful. That's just a little bit of the process that I go through when I'm evaluating some email campaigns that we have running, when I'm looking into the data and trying to decide how I'm going to change emails to improve their effectiveness. If you enjoyed that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to talking again soon.